Have a breath into your body and just feel the breath wherever it rises and falls. And notice if it feels like a bit of an effort. And then as you exhale, just try and let your whole body melt. And as you melt, just let your back begin to round. So you're just bringing your chin into your chest and letting your back curl so that your head drops. And then on your next inhale, slowly move through your pelvis. Bring your hips forward, bring your heart forward, and just feel your spine arching slightly forwards and opening your chest up towards the sky. And as you exhale, massage through the spine, going through the lower back, exhaling, rounding back, drop your chin into your chest. And once more, slowly move through. Feel your sit bones against the ground as you move your pelvis against the floor, your hips come forward, your belly comes forward, your ribs, your heart, and then your chin looks slightly up. And then from there, you're just going to take your body to one side and slowly circle. So it's like your spine is staying in the middle and your body is moving all around your spine. So just bring your body forwards, side, back, side, and just close the eyes and just feel into your movement. And again, think of it like a massage. Just nourishing the body. As I go forwards, I'm letting my head just move whatever way feels good for me. So as I move the pelvis, bring your awareness to your shoulder blades and how your neck is circling. Is your neck feeling like it's circling with the pelvis, or is it doing the reverse direction? Does your chin come down as you go back and forward as you move away? So change the direction if you've been going the same way. And think of it like a hula hoop when you're bringing a hula hoop from the lower body and you're focusing just on the lower body, the hips, and then you're bringing that circle up towards your belly. And then you're bringing that circular action towards the base of the ribs. And then all the way up towards the heart, the upper chest. Then feel the shoulders in that circle. The chin going forwards, the chin going backwards. And then it's like the balance between the ears is circling. And then last time, reverse the direction and then think of the circle with your eyes closed, circling from the top of the head, and think of a spiral. You're spiraling from the top of the head, around the center line spine. Maybe your circle spiral through from the eyes, down into the neck, down between the shoulders, and visualize this spiral and just move with it. There's no right or wrong. You're just trying to open up the energy that can be very contracted around the spine, especially if you've been sitting all day. And then as it gets lower, bring it down in between the rib cage, into the belly, in between the hips. And then just imagine that energy traveling from your body down into the floor and spiraling down, and slow down your movement now and just let it find its own natural slowing down, and it'll stop whenever it's feeling like it's coming to this stillness, like a spinning top finding its center, and then it kind of falls over. And then keep the eyes closed and just feel your spine now. Feel this anchor dropping down from between the eyes, and that anchor drops down through the spine, down to the tailbone, through the floor, and just feel this space of the midline, this division between the two sides of your body, right and left. And I want you to just slowly breathe in, and breathe in from the earth, taking that energy up through your spine, into your neck, in between your eyes, and then imagine that energy traveling and radiating above your head, bringing you higher until you're hooked in high above. And it's like that energy keeps reaching up towards the sky, and as you feel your spine lengthening, just let this lightness occur. And in that lengthening, let all of the skin of your body just relax and soften. So sometimes I think of a clothes hanger. So the central line, the spine is lengthening you upwards, but everything around it is just relaxed and at ease. So your shoulder blades and your shoulders are just acting as this hanger, and the skin and the muscles can soften. And then from this place, just slowly notice the relationship of your hips and your shoulder blades. Closing your eyes, just see if you can scan and make a connection. Does your right shoulder feel like it's on top of your right hip? Is it slightly forward or back? And I think of your left shoulder again. Is it feeling directly on top? What does it feel like? Is there a little rotation through your spine, turning one way? And then without changing anything, just notice that at the start of our class. And then as you inhale up to the ears, notice the ears on top of the spine. And just notice again, what way does your head feel like it's turning towards? Is, for example, the left ear more forward than the right? That would imply your head is turning, pivoting towards the right. And then have a breath in. And then as you exhale, I want you to slowly bring the chin into the chest as you did before, round all the way back. And then bring your knees up so that you're hugging your knees in. And just take your knees to your side and then come to lie on your back. So lying on the ground. And as you lie on the ground, just let your hands find the floor. And as you breathe in, just notice, as you breathe in, how does your spine respond to the breath? So as you breathe in, feel the breath move through your body. And as you exhale, notice how the spine may change in its position. And for you, maybe there is no movement, and that's fine. So just notice, as I breathe, how does my spine want to move? And thinking of that same breath that came in through the base of the spine, the tailbone, up to the head. And as you exhale, maybe your spine feels like it's flattening towards the earth. As you inhale, notice if the arch of your back extends upwards. And as you exhale, notice how your lower back might like to flatten into the floor. So if that wasn't happening for you and you're not feeling that movement, slowly explore that for yourself. So as you inhale, arching through the back, and just feel your shoulder blades opening and connecting downwards. And as you exhale, lower through your lower back, press your lower back into the floor slightly so that you feel your chin maybe is coming towards your chest. And you're feeling as much of the spine as possible in contact with the floor. And once more, roll through the pelvis like we did seated, bringing the body into an arch. Notice that arch move up through your spine. And as you exhale, flatten your lower back into the floor, the middle back. And just notice the effect on the rest of the body. Doing it one more time, this time as you arch the back, just notice how the difference of the pressure of your foot into the floor changes. Maybe there is a lightness through your feet. And as you flatten the back, just gently increase the press of your foot into the floor. And notice how this helps you connect your spine into the floor. So a little gentle press into the floor through the whole of the foot. And just notice how that feels. Do you feel more of yourself in contact with the floor? Your two shoulder blades, the spine, the two sides of the pelvis, and the whole of the foot, front of the foot, the heel of the foot. And as you exhale, just relax and just come into neutral. So what is neither arching or flattening, and just feel that in your body. And just breathe, and don't try and change anything, but just notice now how your breath feels. Notice when you're lying how you may feel the movement of your rib cage more clearly. And I want you to notice how the lower belly moves. Do you feel the lower belly rise and fall? And next, bring your awareness to your rib cage, and if you want, you can always put your hands there for feedback as you breathe in. Do you feel your rib cage expand into your hands? And as you exhale, do you feel a melting towards the center? Just notice what your experience is in your body. And then next, bring the hands up to the upper chest. And as you breathe in, you're feeling the top of the rib cage, the clavicle, breathing in. Notice if you can feel the expansion at the top of the chest. And as you exhale, just letting that go. And now have one hand on the belly, one hand somewhere on your rib cage, and let's connect the dots. So as you breathe in, I want you to breathe in, feel the belly, feel the ribs, feel the upper chest. And as you exhale, release first from the belly, and if it helps, give a little press of your hand into your belly, pushing out the air from the ribs, the upper chest. And again, filling belly, ribs, upper chest. Exhaling, belly, ribs, upper chest. Keep going, filling from the bottom, all the way up. And exhale from the bottom, all the way out. And slow it down now, slowly breathing in. Lengthening and expanding sidewards with your breath, and as you exhale, soften and release. Next time, as you breathe in, bring in the spinal movement if it's not already happening. So as you breathe in, you're filling from the belly, you arch a little to allow more space through the belly. And as you exhale, flatten the belly, exhale the air. And little press through the feet helps you to push out the air without any effort, but just to give that intention that the diaphragm can press upwards and release. And again, as you inhale, notice how your spine moves to accommodate your breath, filling belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, flattening the back. Notice that a little increase in contact of your feet to the floor helps you to massage the back into the ground and feel all of your breath expel. One more time, inhaling, filling, and just feel nourished by your breath now. And you can let go of any effort. And as you exhale, just come into a softness, neither flattening or arching, just come into what feels like neutral for you. And as you rest, just let your hands be anywhere in your body if that feels good, and just notice your breath. Notice if it feels a little deeper or fuller. And from where you are now, I want you to bring your awareness to your right shoulder. And very gently, I want you to lift your right shoulder slightly away from the floor. So it's coming up towards the ceiling, just your right shoulder, and then slowly lower it down. And in our somatic movement, we're always moving slow. So let's make sure as we come up, we're slowly moving the shoulder up, closing our eyes so we can really feel what's happening inside. What am I experiencing in my body? And as I slowly move out of it, noticing whether the movement is fluid or jumpy or gristly, all the subtle qualities inside. And the next time you lift the shoulder, going slow, notice, does your head want to turn as you lift the shoulder? And it may be rigid or it may go to the right or the left. And let the shoulder relax. And then you're going to very gently raise the shoulder again, and this time if the head wasn't moving, encourage the head to move away from the shoulder. So the right shoulder comes up and the head turns to the left. And then slowly bringing that down. And go at your own pace, but make sure you go slow. Feeling into your movement so that you're feeling internally what seems very little or minimal from the outside is huge and fully felt from the inside. And the next time you lift that shoulder, you're going to next time look towards the shoulder. So turn your head so it comes towards your right shoulder. Notice how that is for your neck. And exhale, come back to neutral. If there's any pain in the neck, don't go as far. So as you lift the shoulder, slowly turn your chin, your head towards the shoulder. Notice how it feels. And let that go. And rest for a moment, have a breath. And the next time you're going to lift the right shoulder, I want you to think of your left shoulder and flatten the shoulder into the ground. So your right shoulder comes up and your left shoulder flattens into the ground. So it's like a seesaw, and relax the shoulders. Once more, slowly bringing that shoulder up and the other shoulder flattens. Now notice your feet as you do this. What change in weight is happening through the feet? One foot is pressing maybe a little more into the floor to accommodate this. And as you exhale, slowly notice how you come to neutral, what is happening through your pelvis. And then the next time, you're going to slowly do it one last time. And as you bring that shoulder up and the other shoulder goes down, look away so that the shoulder that's pressing into the floor, the left shoulder, you're turning your head towards. And just notice the pressure change in your feet, your pelvis, and slowly release. Rest your eyes, rest your body. Just notice how you begin, hopefully, to feel more of yourself in that movement that may have felt more isolated to begin. So somatic movement is all about feeling and discovering your whole movement. So you're never just moving from one part, and that's how we improve our efficiency and fluidity and ease in our body and in our daily movements. So now let's transfer our energy to the other shoulder, and as you inhale, I want you to very slowly think about just raising the left shoulder a fraction off the ground. And as the left shoulder comes up, just notice on this side, without moving your head consciously, what is it wanting to do? Does it naturally move to the right or to the left? Or does it stay in the center? And keep moving in and out of it, not holding or pressing or pushing in any way, just moving upwards and slowly downwards, keeping the eyes closed and just really feeling what you're doing, your experience on the inside. So we're constantly learning, how is it for me to move my shoulder as I come up? How is the rest of my body in relation to this movement? And the next time that you bring your left shoulder up, you're going to let your head move and just notice what is your preference. And you can begin to move the head away from the movement. So as the left shoulder comes up from the floor, moving your head towards the right. And just feel that rotation through your spine, your neck, the back of the skull moving along the floor, your eyes even moving as the eyeballs turn in the sockets. And relax that. Notice if you have a deep breath in the rib cage at any point here. That's a lovely sign of just letting go of any tension that's been held there. As you do these movements of the neck and the shoulders, it releases a lot of holding in the rib cage. Next time you bring your left shoulder up, I want you to turn your chin towards that same side. Turning your head. And notice that the range of movement, or the feeling of the movement, may be a bit tighter, a bit more rigid perhaps, or it may feel easier for you. So it depends on what your habit is, your pattern of movement in your body. So just coming in and out of it, turning the chin towards that side, and slowly back to center. And as before, applying all the learning from before, notice how does my pelvis, my hips respond, the pressure through my feet as I move. And then on your next one, just have a deep breath first. And then slowly lift the left shoulder, move your right shoulder down into the floor, and just notice how that is, and just let your head go wherever is most comfortable for it. Just focusing on the shoulders for a moment. So the next time you raise your left shoulder, you're pressing your right shoulder blade down into the floor slightly. And notice how the feet are facilitating this movement. So in order to move your shoulder, your movement is coming from your core, extending through your body into your shoulder, but also from your core down into your feet. So we are always drawing a connection from our core to our movement. And the next time the shoulder flattens, turn your head towards that shoulder that's flattening, towards the right. And release. And again, notice this seesaw action of the shoulders. One goes up, one goes down. And notice the two sides of the pelvis, if the similar up and down is experienced. And the same through the feet, how there's a difference between the two sides. And let your head roll for one last one, and then come back to center and rest. Breathing in. And you may begin to feel into more of the space in the rib cage, even into the back of the rib cage, which is a part of the body that can usually be quite numb, that we don't really fully experience. And one more breath, applying what we did earlier, breathing in, belly, ribs, upper chest, little arch through the spine if it feels good. And as you exhale, flattening the back, release from the belly, ribs, upper chest, little press into the feet. And once more, pressing through, letting the back arch, inhaling up. And as you exhale, slowly massage the spine down, letting the air expel out. And then come into neutral. And you might like to bend and slide your legs long and just let your whole body rest and just notice how you feel. Notice how it feels for you lying like this. You have maybe noticing some change in your lower back and your shoulder blades. They may be feeling more in contact with the floor than usual. They may feel more balanced than usual. And you may feel a little longer through your center line. And then very slowly draw up your feet one at a time so that you come back to your feet on the floor, your knees bent up to the ceiling. And from here, you're just very slowly going to feel the two sides of your pelvis. And I just want you to try and pour the weight all the way into one side of your pelvis. And if it helps you, you can bring the hands onto the hip bones and just feel the weight going to one side. And then go through neutral, and then it's like you're pouring the weight into the other hip. And thinking of that seesaw action, you are going to keep your knees still and just move the hips. So one hip presses down, one side of your pelvis presses down, while the other side is slightly raised. And then slowly move through neutral, and then press one hip down. The back of the pelvis on one side goes up, the other side goes down, just like a seesaw. And again, closing your eyes and just find this movement for yourself in your body. Slowly moving from side to side. Good. And then as you do this, notice if the relationship of the 2 feet is different depending on what movement you're doing. And so somatics is kind of like a body puzzle. You're always trying to work out how your body functions, how it moves. So explore that for yourself. Be the curious engineer of your own body. And then next time, I want you to slowly raise your right hip, so your left back of your sacrum is slowly on the ground, more down into the ground, I should say. And so as your left hip comes up, notice how the shoulders respond. The shoulder blades is one shoulder slightly up and one down, and then move through center, and then slowly raise your left hip. So the right sacrum presses down and the left hip is up. Notice a change across the shoulders. And now just go from side to side and think of the 2 sides of the pelvis, the 2 sides of the shoulder blades. And as one hip presses down, see if the opposite shoulder is also pressing down. And change sides. And as one hip presses upwards or feels like it's higher than the other hip, notice if your other shoulder, your diagonal shoulder, is upwards. So if my right side of my pelvis is flat, then the left side of my shoulder blade is flat. And at the same time, my left hip is up and my right shoulder is slightly up. So we're working with diagonals. So as you roll across and you draw a diagonal, your right hip is slightly up and your opposite shoulder will be up. Just as when one side of the pelvis presses down, the diagonal, the opposite shoulder, is also pressing down. So just explore that for yourself. And maybe for you that doesn't feel to be true, and that's okay. So you work with whatever pattern is in your body now. And then let that go. Come into the central neutral position. Just rest your head. And slowly bring your hands behind your head. And just allow them to support your head. And you're going to inhale and we're going to integrate everything in the spine, in the breath. So we're going to breathe in, opening up through the spine, arching into our back. Filling belly, ribs, upper chest. And as you exhale, flatten your back into the ground. And then as you exhale, lift the head and bring the elbows slightly upwards and press into your feet. And as you come down, slowly allow yourself to relax back. And inhale, open the elbows, open the chest, the spine. And as you exhale, flatten your back and slowly curl up, but move from your core, lengthening the back side of your body. And as you exhale, relaxing your body down. And I want you to bring your right hand to your right knee and your left hand behind your head. And I want you to inhale, arch the back. And as you exhale, flatten the back into the floor and bring the knee and the elbow together. And as you exhale, slowly move away. So we're working with the diagonal connection we were doing earlier. So we're inhaling, arching, exhaling. The opposite hip and shoulder are coming upwards. And the diagonals are working together. One more time, flattening the back, feeling the curve. And as you exhale, slowly release that. Let that foot relax. Let's change sides. Bring in the left side. So your right hand is behind your head, left hand at the knee. Inhale, arching. And exhale, slowly flatten your back. Bring your knee and your elbow up and just feel the whole body pressing down into the ground. And as you exhale, moving into an arch position with the spine. And then again, as you exhale, notice how your opposite foot presses into the floor to support your movement. And as you exhale, feel how that pressure releases. One more time. Flattening the back, lengthening through the back of your body as you contract through the front of the body, but without any effort, thinking of the whole of you, this organic movement that happens. And maybe one more for good measure. Notice your foot, your back pressing into the floor, the diagonals of the body working together. And as you exhale, release that. Relax your hands and just notice how you feel now. Let your hands rest at your sides. Notice if your shoulder blades feel a little closer into the floor. Notice your lower back into the ground. And then very slowly lengthen the legs. And just notice how the back of your body feels. If you feel a bit longer, if the two sides of the body feel a little longer from the waist to the shoulder. And just notice the residue of your practice. And then come to notice your breathing. Notice as you inhale how the breath moves from the belly up. Notice if the rib cage feels a bit freer to move and expand. And then slowly in your own time, I invite you to just curl up onto your side. And gradually take your time, keeping your eyes closed if that feels comfortable, so that you can keep an awareness of your inner experience. And come to sit whatever way you began the class, seated earlier. And as you come to sit, just notice, without changing anything, how you're sitting now. At the start, we did a scan through our body and we noticed whether one shoulder or the other was feeling more forward or more back. And just notice if there's a sense of better balance, equilibrium even. And notice the same for your two ears, this sense of balancing the two sides, leveling. And then drop down into your hips and just notice the weight or the pressure into the floor on the two sides of your pelvis, the two sit bones. Notice if it feels a little more balanced. There's a little more equal distribution of weight on the two sides. And then notice if you feel more comfortable sitting now, if there's more ease in your body. And if you aren't comfortable seated, it might be that you need to sit on a cushion. So typically your hips, when higher than your knees, make it more comfortable because you hinge slightly further forward. So taking that into account, but just notice how your seated posture is now compared to when you started. Do you feel a little taller, longer through the central line? And as you exhale, can you feel all of the body soften around that central line of your spine? And can you feel in your inner vision the balance of the hips, and directly above the hips are the shoulder blades? and directly above the shoulder blades, a sense of the back of the ears. And then lastly, taking one hand to the belly, one hand to the chest, and just notice your breath. Breathing into the belly, all the way into the chest, and just letting that go. And so thank you for joining me this evening for this practice. I hope that you feel a little lighter and longer in your ribs and in your spine, and a little freer in your hips and your shoulders.